Since 2020. Now the question is, will the Eagles be able to follow suit in the NFL? Of course, they won the Lombardi in February, but you now look at what they are looking at in terms of their schedule. They faced 10 playoff teams from the previous year, and it could be a difficult road to get back to the big game. FanDuel giving them an 11% shot to do so. As you take a look here at the latest odds to win Super Bowl, it is the Ravens up top. We just talked about them adding Jair Alexander. They are tied with the Bills there for the shortest odds. And then you find the Eagles there tied with the Chiefs at the second shortest at plus 750. The question is, will they run it back? To get some of those answers, we welcome on our NFL reporter, Tyler Sullivan, to give us a look ahead at the reigning Super Bowl champs. So, Tyler, we looked at the numbers. The odds looking pretty good to run it back, whether that's the division or just the Super Bowl in general. But the road just gets tougher and tougher. We saw that 11% shot that comes out to plus 750. Do you agree when it comes to the Eagles getting back to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it is really difficult in the NFL to repeat as Super Bowl champions. I think we kind of get disillusioned a little bit because we're so used to the Kansas City Chiefs making it to 3 straight Super Bowls, going back to back, being as dominant as they were. You look at possibly the next dynasty. Okay, could the Philadelphia Eagles do just that? But you have to remember that the last time, other than the Kansas City Chiefs that went back to back, you have to go back to 2003, 2004 New England Patriots. So that's over 2 decades in between time we saw back-to-back champions in the NFL. So can the Philadelphia Eagles do it? Absolutely. They have all the talent in the world to be able to get back to the Super Bowl and hoist the Lombardi Trophy for the 2nd straight year. But as you referenced, the road is a lot more difficult. They have the 4th toughest schedule in the NFL this season. And you look at some of the teams in the NFC alone. I think the Los Angeles Rams are going to be live this year, a team that took them to the brink in the postseason last year. I think the San Francisco 49ers are a team that rebounds after a ton of injuries. In that division, you have Dak Prescott coming back from injury. The Cowboys will be more competitive. Of course, Jayden Daniels going into year 2. So there's a lot of teams now in the NFC. It's pretty stacked, and we haven't even mentioned about half of them in the NFC North. So yes, they can do it, but it's certainly going to be difficult.
Yeah, and just to continue that conversation, we know that the Eagles won a franchise best 14 games last year en route to their Super Bowl. But as you mentioned, as I mentioned, the schedule itself, they're facing those 10 playoff teams. And this is also an interesting note. They'll be the first team in NFL history to play 7 road games against those playoff teams. When you look at the schedule as a whole here, we talked about it being tougher. How do you anticipate it going?
Yeah, it must be a Cowboys fan that does the schedule, right? Because clearly they just do not like the Philadelphia Eagles.
We've had a hard time too, Tyler, okay?
Those road games are no joke. But I do think that this team is still, again, going to be favored in a lot of these matchups. That's why I have them as 12-5 on the season. It's down from last year, but still, 12-5 is nothing to kind of turn your nose at. And the thing is, though, that as you referenced, it is such a difficult schedule. Like I mentioned, 4th toughest in the NFL. When you look at the opponent's record in terms of their win totals throughout next season. And there's a couple of pockets here where I think it could be really, really difficult. Right out of the chute, they have the Cowboys. I think they win that game. But then you look at the Chiefs, Rams, Buccaneers, 2 of those games on the road. I have them losing 2 of those games. I have them actually beating the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead. They're coming back to the United States after playing the Chargers. So I think there could be some kind of tread on the tires there for the Kansas City Chiefs. But the Rams and Buccaneers going to be difficult. Then you fast forward to the end of the season. You play the Commanders twice in a 3-week span, and in between, it's the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. So again, very difficult, but I do think they put together a 12-5 season.
I love how we were talking about how difficult the NFC East would be, and yet you have them winning all but 1 game in the NFC East. So maybe we'll see a repeat champion there when it comes to the division. We also have to show some love to the Super Bowl MVP and Jalen Hurts. He got some love from Pete Prisco yesterday as he was named the 52nd best player in his annual top 100 NFL players. We had some conversation about it with Lige yesterday. I'm curious, do you agree with that 52 spot for Jalen Hurts?
I probably would put him a little bit higher because right now I think he's a top 5 quarterback. Pete Prisco did not have him as a top 5 quarterback. I believe Justin Herbert was ahead of him. And so I look at Jalen Hurts and say, sure, there are certain things that you'd like him to be a little bit more efficient with in terms of passing the football, but the dude wins. And at the end of the day, isn't that all you want from your starting quarterback? This guy who's been to 2 Super Bowls in his career, hoisted 1. I look at all those quarterbacks ahead of him on Prisco's ranking rankings, only Patrick Mahomes is a guy that's hoisted a Lombardi trophy other than Jalen Hurts. So I do have Patrick Mahomes ahead of him. I have Josh Allen ahead of him, Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow. Outside of that, I like Jalen Hurts better than Jayden Daniels right now. We have to see what he looks like in year 2. Certainly like him better than Justin Herbert, because at the end of the day, the name of the game is winning football games. And that's what Jalen Hurts has done basically since he's become the starter in Philadelphia.
Mahomes, Herbert, Daniels, Lamar. Those are the quarterbacks that are listed ahead of Jalen Hurts when it comes to Pete Prisco's Top 100, which you can find on CBSSports.com. Tyler, we appreciate it.
Taking a look at Pete Prisco's Top 100 list that just dropped on CBSSports.com. Looking at Trevor Lawrence. He went from number 62 on Prisco's list in 2024 to unranked. Just a small note here, in 2023, he was rated number 23. So not a good slide for Trevor Lawrence. What does that mean for Trevor? Pete, call him a bust? Well, I would say he's definitely on alert. Looking at 9 players that are on bust alert. That's not a list you want to be a part of, Haley.
I like that you just make those lists, and it's what's trending. So let's talk about it.
This is exactly what's trending right now, and we are going to talk about it. We have our NFL on CBS writer, John Breach, joining us now. So we're talking QB busts. Not quite saying they're total failures just yet. Trevor Lawrence, he signed that 5-year, $275 million deal. Now, with his 3rd head coach in 5 years, that can't help trying to find some continuity with the program. Now he has Liam Cohen at the helm. How pivotal is this year for Trevor Lawrence?
Jenny, this is absolutely a huge year because you look at what Trevor Lawrence has done. He is 2-13 in his past 15 starts. But as you said, there hasn't been any continuity there. Now he's got a new head coach, a new offensive system to learn. But if you're talking about whether Trevor Lawrence is going to be a boom or bust guy going to his 5th season, I think he's going to be a boomer, and it is all because of Liam Cohen. You look at what he did in Tampa Bay. Baker Mayfield was in somewhat of a similar situation. Career was kind of falling apart, ends up with the Buccaneers, and you have Liam Cohen, who turns him into one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL last year and played like a top 10 guy. The Buccaneers were 4th in the NFL in scoring, and so then you look at what Jacksonville did this offseason. How can you help Trevor Lawrence? Well, they went out and signed Diami Brown. They drafted Travis Hunter. They already have Brian Thomas Jr. on the team. So that's 3 receivers that Trevor Lawrence is going to have to throw the ball to. And then you look at what Liam Cohen likes to do on offense. He likes to take the pressure off his quarterback. The Buccaneers had one of the top rushing offenses in the NFL last season. That helped Baker Mayfield thrive. And I won't be surprised if he looks to do the same thing in Jacksonville. Last year, Jacksonville was not good at running the ball. They ranked 26th overall in rushing yards per game. I think Liam Cohen would love to get his team up into the top 10. That would take a lot of pressure off of Trevor Lawrence. And I know that sounds almost contradictory. We want this guy to be booming, but we're going to take some pressure off him. I think that's what Cohen wants. Take something off Trevor Lawrence's plate so he doesn't get in his own head. But I do think Trevor Lawrence is going to have a big year.
Boom. We're going boom for Trevor Lawrence.